All right, so this was just a quick little update here. I think I mentioned some other videos that I was looking into doing some tournament fishing, and one of the things I decided to do just ahead of time was to go ahead and join B.A.S.S. I believe, not that I'm planning to fish any opens, but one of the prerequisites to fishing the opens is to have that membership. So, and I didn't know if there were any other tournaments that might come up that might pique my interest where I would need that. So I went ahead and joined. It was a $15 membership. And you have to look around. They have all sorts of different promotions going at any given time. And, you know, each one kind of might give you something different. So mine was $15 for the year. And this is the stuff that it came with. So it came with 4 free lures, and then it came with, so you get the membership card, 2 stickers that I guess you put on your boat, or you can put on your car, truck, whatever. And then these were the lures. I think they said they were valued at $40, something like that. I did the math just looking online for what these 4 baits cost. Just like I said, first couple, I just averaged together the first couple prices that I saw for it. And I found each one of these baits was about, you know, a $7 bait, give or take. And just to kind of show you what I ended up with, they sent me a Bandit racket. So it's a little crankbait that dives about 4 to 6 feet. And the color on this one is pearl black back. So it's got a little bit of, like, I guess, pink on there. And then, so kind of interesting. I've actually have several Bandit lures, so definitely familiar with them. So this is actually one, I think I left it here at home, and I probably should have taken it with me the other day. Probably would have actually maybe helped me out for the conditions that I was fishing. But and it's got a little bit of a rattle to it as well. You can probably hear that. Another one here was the Super Spook. So I have the Spook Junior. I didn't actually have the full-size Spook, so that was new. And for some reason, this one, they have note on here that says saltwater hooks. I don't know exactly why they did that, since B.A.S.S was a fresh fishing thing, but whatever. You'll probably notice these are kind of beat up too, because this came in a soft plastic mailer, and obviously some stuff had been thrown on it. The baits don't appear to be damaged at all, but definitely took a little bit of abuse traveling to get here. And I think I ordered this back in like November, early, I think, because my expiration says it expires in it. So I must have ordered this back in November, and it finally arrived a couple weeks ago here in December. So relatively quick, you know, about 4 weeks or so. And so I was reading the back. There's really nothing else spectacular about that. But like I said, I know both these baits pretty well. And actually, I'll talk about this one because I know this one too. This is the Arbacast Hula Popper. So this is a topwater popper. And I've actually caught bass on this one. Not this particular color. I don't think I have this color. But I have one that's more, I don't know if you want to call it clown color or something like that. But this one is another one that, you know, that I like when that topwater bite is good. And then the last thing that I received here was this Berkeley War Pig 1/4 ounce. And let's see here. So it's got a little bit of a rattle to it. The pattern as such is, I guess it's supposed to kind of represent a bleeding fish. And let's see what the color is here. They list this as a bleeding shiner. And so it's got a little bit of reflectiveness to it. So this is, you know, this is probably the only one I'm not familiar with. I do know Berkeley as a brand. I just don't use a lot of their stuff for whatever reason. But there's nothing wrong with that. And this is probably another one. This and the rack were probably ones that might have helped me out the other day. I kind of struggled. I was doing some practice fishing the other day. So this probably would have actually helped. I don't know that they necessarily are targeting these for the season. I think they're just 4 baits to kind of get you started. And like I said, you got 2 here that are top water, and then you got 2. Now this one, I don't know. I guess it could sink all the way to the bottom, so you could sink, fish this one pretty much at any depth. This one goes 4 to 6 feet, and then like I said, these 2 are more top water or shallow. You might with this one might be able to get it, maybe a foot deep, something like that. So that's it. So that's what's there. And then when I'm looking at the little mailer that they sent me. I can probably just put it out here, but this is what they send you, and along with this, and the membership card is attached to this. And so this entitles you to some giveaways, a magazine that'll start coming at some point. And they mentioned some other stuff here, like up here. So I mentioned the eligibility, and then they say that there's discounts on travel insurance and more. I haven't been able to find online any more information about that. That may be something that's maybe in the magazine when it starts coming. But again, the big thing was just trying to get out ahead of it before the season started, in case there was any tournaments or something that came up that required that. And it'll be actually the same thing too. I know most of the tournaments that I'm fishing in the league that I'm fishing in, we got a meeting Monday. We're gonna do lake selection, but I know in some of the tournaments, they're mostly Texas-based lakes, but I know that some of them will be in Oklahoma or on Lake Texoma. The problem with Lake Texoma, for those that aren't familiar with it, and just in general, if you have a similar situation where you live, Texoma Lake actually straddles. Half of it is in Texas, half of it is in Oklahoma. So one of the other things I'm going to have to go ahead and do is make sure that I have a current Texoma fishing license, because I either have to get an Oklahoma fishing license and a Texas fishing license, or I can just get the Texoma specific license, which will then allow me to fish Texoma for the year. And I think that one's like a $12 versus paying for, the full-blown Oklahoma license. But depending on which lakes get chosen, I know that there was some talk of potentially going up to Oklahoma, since, we live up here in North Texas, and it's, only like an hour to the border. And so a lot of our tournaments, we're trying to stay within, I think, 100 miles of the DFW Metroplex. But if that's the case, then I'll have to go ahead and register. If we go to any lakes other than Texoma, I'd have to go ahead and get the other license for the Oklahoma lakes for the season. And again, that's another tournament thing that any of you that are tournament anglers should think about, is just because you go into these events, just so I have B.A.S.S eligibility, if I want to go fish an open in a different state, I need to make sure that I have the applicable licenses for that state as well. So I'll be working on that, and I'll continue to update you guys as I go further along. I think today's the first day of 2021 that I haven't gone fishing, so I think I fished 4 or 5 days in a row now. I may actually, after I kick off work this evening, I may run out back to the pond and do a little bit of pond fishing. But yeah, so that's it. So that's what I got in my B.A.S.S membership kit, and I look forward to doing a lot more fishing here this year. Until next time.